We near 6:30?
Yeah, all right.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the roll call show all present except Councilman Dimick and he notified us earlier is excused for this absence. We do have a quorum. Have anybody had much of a chance to review too much of this?
So my question is, are we going over just this section, this part? Or are we covering also the building regulation,
Well,
which is this part of the draft?
yeah, I got both here. I thought, we'll attach this first and see how time goes. What do you think?
Yeah, because we just have an hour.
That's what I'm saying. I think time will dictate.
So just going over the zoning,
To start off with, yes.
okay,
Yeah, that's,
clarification.
everybody agree that's like a good
Yeah.
idea. That was my intention.
Uh,
I think we talked about it last time. didn't we? Anyway, let's,
So you wanna go with the standards first and agree which zoning. Types of zoning to have and then. What constitutes or allowed in each zoning,
Oh, the development standards.
that's the first section. This defines like, the. What all the zones will have,
right.
as well as what is allowed in each zone. I think getting that defined and then branching off into
Okay,
the other things makes no sense.
right.
Instead of kind of circling around and jumping around,
So we're gonna work on these development standards. Right?
that's where we left off.
Okay.
We have worked on development standards, Chris.
Yeah, because some of these are
This things like this.
Okay,
somewhat defined, some haven't really been suggested, so it's. What zones do we want, as well as what do we want allowed into those zones? So we can. At least know what's permitted. I believe like all our other ordinances. Anything that changes on this won't take effect to current. Buildings and properties,
Correct.
but if they were to be. Demolished or moved, anything coming in.
Right.
Then be,
everything's grandfathered in.
Yeah.
right. So this is.
You can't have someone have to move their house.
Right, so we're not looking at like, what we're gonna zone anything as far as town, just what the zoning. Aspects are.
We'll be going forward
Yeah, that'd be,
because there's places where certain types of buildings were allowed in the past that are not allowed under current zone.
it looks like, The first one was the RA, which is residential agricultural.
Which we don't have. But we will have,
Yeah, so,
or we could have,
so
we have land in our city boundaries
Right.
that could qualify for that.
right, so this. Would be the land west of Herbst that we're talking. about.
Next to cemetery.
Would be the idea where that would go.
Right.
Acre or bigger lots. And so I think that was something that council and all had previously agreed that they wanted, so I think that's.
Yeah.
Probably one that we want to keep. or
Yeah.
add.
Yeah, and that's minimum lot size 1 acre. That's exactly what we talked about.
And then. Going down that, then we have, that's. No changes there, I don't know if that's something that. We want to change, but, to qualify for that, but then the next one is the height setback and whatnot. And so right now, it's just a flat 1,400 square foot house, but for. For that, do we want the same? Do we want different standards for that? You know, like some people might have like, I don't know, barndominiums or something like that, I don't know, 1 acre, but I don't know.
Well, 1,400 is recommended, another number could be 1,200 is the price of homes, maybe. 1,200 ain't that bad, but a 1,400 square foot's not a big house either.
I know a family of four can comfortably live in 1,200. I mean, honestly, everybody has their own bedroom and I don't know, if. So the tiny home movement's kind of a thing too, so I think that we need a way. I think having the minimum requirements, all right, but we also need a way for people who are into the tiny home. Be able to also build. Maybe in a different area or something, I don't. Like,
It's like, it's most tiny homes though, they're movable. A lot of them.
like east of. Herbst Road or east of. Elm that where you could, because I mean, for a single retired person. To get a 800 or 900 square foot home is affordable. Cheaper to heat and cool and still look nice, but I know we're trying to do,
Well, I know.
so I didn't know if we want to put a provision on the size. Minimum size house.
Yeah, they just took the 1,400, because we talked about that.
Right.
On R1
And out west,
applied it to everything.
And I'm wondering if maybe put a provision out west. Have the minimum put in the historic town of Shoshoni,
I mean, to the,
like east of Elm Street. Or
But that would be someone we would assign to one of the zoning. Parts and then whatever we zoned it in town, so that'd be a different aspect. So for agricultural, the only thing right now that would be west of town for this one. For this, well, this category
Right.
Specifically. Unless it's something that you wanna talk about on the other zoning, like the R3 or something like that.
right. I guess I wasn't looking at just RA alone. I was looking at kind of.
I was just trying to go, instead of
One
jumping
at a
around,
time.
just trying to do it methodically. Sorry.
No, I'm with you on that, but I see we got 1,400 basically all the way.
well, that was
across.
just a number that they put in there, 'cause we talked about that for R1.
And I think that'd be, yeah,
So they just filled in the blank and let us decide, that was just, I think that's where that came from. Cause we were only talking 1,400.
Yeah, for
R1.
R1 and even R2 for that matter.
I mean,
I don't see why you cannot have a tiny home in an R, I mean,
Agricultural.
well, no, or so, are we just focusing on agriculture right now, RA?
That, I guess so.
Yeah, okay, because we bounce it on to R1 and R2 all of a sudden. In my mind, if you're in an RA situation, you would have a bigger house, period.
I would think so, if you
Yeah.
have a 1 or 2 or 3 acre
Right,
upon the land, you're
Right,
probably,
you'd have a 1,400 square foot.
so that's all.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm,
what you would look at would be what you could not have there.
Like a camper trailer. or
Well,
something.
Yeah, so do you want, Russian olives there? Well, so those
Yeah.
are things that you want maybe to eliminate because, or you want shipping containers. What don't you want? That's, to me, is just as important as what you want.
sure,
I imagine most people that have that, would probably have maybe a shed.
Yeah, definitely.
but what was brought up that might be that sort of popular, I think we ought to kick around with like a barnuminium.
Which would be taller than 40 feet,
No,
no?
taller than 40 foot.
That's 3 stories with 20 foot.
Oh, I don't know, I'm not a builder.
Yeah,
Yeah, or, 25 and 15.
so you're 40 foot, it shouldn't be anything over,
Yeah,
I don't think,
okay.
I don't know. I think my house is maybe 25. My house is maybe 25, 24.
Foot high
Huh? High, yeah, my house,
to the peak of the roof?
yeah. About it.
Huh.
It's like 21 inside and then it's got. It's 25, it's close. Right,
Okay. I never measured.
you know what I'm saying, so 40 foot's a.
The height requirements are basically set by the fire department because that's as big as their ladder goes.
Right. But that
40
is,
foot's plenty, 40 foot's plenty.
okay, but if someone builds a barnuminium. And on the interior, the living quarters is only 1,000 square foot.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some of them that are built like that. So the building's a lot bigger than 1,400 square foot, the living quarters, so I'm just. Trying
It's
to,
this minimum floor area total square foot.
yeah. Just so, yeah, I mean, I'm good, I'm just trying to think in the weeds, what might someone can. If we spell it out, so it doesn't leave gray area for. Something in the, I don't. I don't. I don't know. Several people. That are. And in fact, I don't know one guy, cause he lives out by the pavilion and he's got 2 stories.
And then we have,
He got a big shop on the other end.
Yeah, that's the additional buildings.
it's additional.
Yeah, that's for.
Accessory building, see if you put that gray
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
line.
it should-
It's like, how come we got one height
Yeah.
here and one height
Yeah, it didn't
there?
have the borders on the. Okay, that's something. So should we look at a different requirement size then for?
Yeah.
Minimum required, I should say.
To me, is this those living space or is the total building?
It could be whatever the council wants.
Well, it's not,
It just says total.
Yeah.
So,
Mine. Yeah, cause you can have a detached garage,
Yeah.
like my wife accused me looking for a garage with house attached. It's, but it's. But no, but that's why I was just, 1,400 square livable space, but you've got a barnuminium out there, I don't know, I guess you asked, barnuminium, any reason we wouldn't want one there, or is there?
I can handle a 1,400 square foot minimum. Yeah.
Okay.
That's living space.
Yeah,
Right,
So do we need to put that in there as living space or as total space? That's the question.
I think living space.
Okay,
It's my house on West Sixth is 1,460 square foot. And it's just, it's 3 bedroom, 2 baths. But it's, the rooms aren't big, but
And any thoughts on the max height for the main building, 40 foot?
I guess that's a lot.
I have no problem with 40 feet.
Yeah,
And the minimum front yard would just be the front yard facing property line, at least 30 foot from the end of the line.
Front yard would be one. Yeah,
As part of the setback.
usually that's considered the one that's facing the street,
Yeah.
right,
the main street.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then depending where they put it on that plot of land, 15 foot on the sides,
Right.
it's suggested, I mean. For the 1 acre lot, it's probably. I guess depending where they. put it,
Yes.
but- And the same thing with the rear.
That's a lot of yard if you're trying to use the land for agriculture. Especially if you add it to the accessory building required yard.
Well, those are just those are the minimum setbacks from. Where the building's placed on the land. So like, if you had a. Square and you wanted the house right there, or just. a
Oh,
corner,
setbacks, all right, I
Yeah,
got it.
those are.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, there's,
since when are we requiring somebody to have a yard?
Yeah, no.
yeah, no.
we could probably rephrase the way that's. Listen,
We
but I think that's.
probably get her
Trying
a
to
vote.
describe it as, depending how the house.
Oh, yeah, front setback, side setback, if I throw
Yeah.
that word in, then it reads
I think
good.
Ron, what he's done with his yard looks real nice.
Oh, the rock.
Rocks, yeah, I
Yeah.
like the rocks.
Zero escape,
Huh? Yeah, I like it. On Anthony,
I don't know, but. I
he
knew what
put
he
up,
was saying.
put up a bunch of rocks. I think they look good.
And then,
I haven't seen water them. I don't know if they're growing.
So do you want to insert the word setback?
Yeah.
Where it says minimum front yard,
so
side and rear,
I think so, just so it's clear, it's not
right?
like Jake was kind of like at first.
What's that minimum yard, what the heck,
Yeah, so we need to say the word setbacks there.
Not more clear.
which. Apparently they are listed if you'd read the whole headline.
Yeah, good, the headline, yeah.
That's me.
And then, accessory buildings, currently can't be greater than 25% of the total acreage. So there's not a. the Maximum on the amount of structures you can have, just a maximum on how much they can occupy. And then, of course, the distance from the primary building. I think you have an acre lot or a 2 acre lot, 10 foot, might be a little restrictive. If you have a barn or,
Well, then you gotta be careful if there's a
Corral.
propane tank. Cause it can't be so close to the house or,
Is, but
another structure.
Basically, it's the width of a vehicle to between the outbuilding and the main residence.
That's
what-
minimum though, right?
Yeah, that's what you want.
well, I believe isn't this what they're talking about, 10 foot distance from, in that,
This,
in that their minimum recommendation?
yes,
For
That's
propane.
the way I'm
Right.
understanding
Yeah.
that.
but I would say put in minimum because it's. again,
Right, I think, so there's no, I agree,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think that's something to do with fire.
yeah,
Yeah, saying minimum, so it can be 20 if you want it.
Right, correct. Yeah. Or 50. Or 150, yeah.
And then 25 foot height. For accessory buildings.
How to cover it.
What's the most you could probably add, maybe a barn?
You can have a detached garage,
or detached garage.
yes.
I would almost think the numbers are changed around. I mean, I don't know, 40 foot on that stuff. The building, and then I'm saying accessory building can only be 25, what if you wanna? But 25 is a lot for a pretty good shop too, I mean, I don't think they're both. You know, if you have 14 foot sidewalls or even 16, if you had a bigger shop, you're not over 25 foot tall
Right.
typically. Depends how wide and,
Depends on your pitch.
yeah.
I guess I don't know why the garage would have to be shorter than the house.
Oh,
Well, if you have a two-story house, or you have, unless you had like
You can't have a 3-story house that's maxed at 40 foot,
You say 2-story.
two-story.
or yeah. So why not? I don't know why a garage couldn't be the same height.
Yeah, you can put a mother-in-law apartment in top or like an office.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Matt,
yeah,
so it's changed that 25 to 40.
Make it about 40.
yeah, I don't know why not. Over there in Thermopolis, they couldn't have a shop, but they could have a barn, so a guy built a shop and put one of those steeples that looked like like a barn. Seriously. Yeah,
And then the setbacks are a little bit further out than the house. Which kind of makes sense. But if you wanted, like you said, to build, if you had a 30 foot setback on the house and you wanted to build. To stay in line and build a detached garage, for example. Then your detached garage would be 10 foot further back. According to the way it's, the setbacks for the accessory building would be 40 foot, so you'd have to have it 10 foot further back. Than the offset.
Well, that ain't gonna work.
yeah, I don't know that,
I think those setbacks should be all the same.
yeah, I don't know why they would
That's what I was-
be different,
That's
yes.
what I was,
So we're gonna make about 30
Not
or
to
40.
jump around, but there's R1, R2, R3. I wonder if we should just across the board make the setbacks the same.
I agree.
Yeah, me too.
that way we don't have to discuss that one again,
Right.
just make.
Well, everybody's thinking the same thing, just all setbacks for outbuildings be the same as
Yeah,
the
but-
setbacks for the main building,
Yeah.
Right,
Solve that one. Okay,
all in one fatal swoop.
so do we wanna set it at 30 foot or 40 foot? Like minimum front yard
I think,
setback,
I think the 30.
30.
I think 30 is plenty.
yeah, yeah. the ones
Okay, I thought
with the
someone
main
said
building.
40. I was asking.
40 is for the height, 30 is for,
Yeah, okay.
We're doing that across the board for all this, right?
Yeah.
yes. Do we want to discuss the minimum side setbacks? On R1, 2, and 3? In the rear, because they have 1 foot.
On the side yard.
Yes,
Yeah, I think it should be at least 5.
Yeah, I think we're minimum 5 now, aren't we?
Well, if we follow the main house setbacks, apply it to the outbuildings, then it would be 5.
yeah.
Cause it's, so we just do that across the board. that
Right,
way.
I agree there.
So basically just transplant the setbacks for the main residence directly onto the outbuildings. The other question is, with agricultural land, you want the max amount of dwellings to be 1? That'll be able to have multiple.
Well, I think it's still 1.
Yeah.
if,
We have a guest house as well.
Well, or, yeah, guest house, mother-in-law apartment, whatever. you wanna
Above
call
your
it.
garage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that isn't, yeah,
you know, because that's an issue that they're having nowadays, that, you know, is there enough housing? So
And a
if you have
lot of
an acre of
people are
land,
doing that. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I,
I
if
think-
that was, but I don't know if we want, or, I don't, would you wanna?
you could,
You
Yes.
know, something like you're talking about, but do we wanna have someone up and put rentals?
well, that's what I was gonna say.
you know, put in Airbnb.
I know a guy did that in Riverton. Built his house, built a little back house and rents it out.
But I think it'd go how we would define what a guest house would be if we had that. We'd have to define what that actually was. And regulation of how that would apply, so it wasn't. in there. Just a thought, but if one's fine, that's just curious.
It's. Airbnb can turn into not a good thing.
Oh, yeah, no, I was talking, so it
Different,
could be an
yeah.
Airbnb, like,
Yeah.
we could. Define what qualifies as a
Right,
guest
right.
house, that would restrict that if we added that, if not, then. Just one block, it's fine, I was just throwing it out there.
If you wanted to do that, one way would be defined would be how the utilities are hooked up. So if it's only 1 meter for your water and your gas.
Hmm.
Therefore, the homeowner has control. Right, so if you put in 2 meters for your gas and your water,
Right,
then it becomes a rental.
right,
Well, we can. In our zoning, we can put no rentals. That gets someone may wanna. Have. You can't sell a house, what do? You know, if you wanna get through the winter, I'd rent it.
well, and I thought we were gonna do that was for rentals for some of the school teachers or whatever, if somebody built houses over in there.
No, but this is for the, yeah, you're right. Well, define, our rental would be
Well,
a
this-
second residence upon that property we're talking about.
Right.
Not saying, you own the house and you wanna rent it out to
Right.
me.
right,
That's different than having a second dwelling on that property. That's how I look at it.
Okay,
See, we're on, you know. RA, and yeah, we hope we get some teachers there too, but the. But
So
the
it's
48
just
was
one
the primary,
easy-
the primary.
Yeah, it's good.
Set up for. Line,
I was just throwing it out there, I didn't wanna.
school employees, city employees.
Way around that is build a garage with a apartment on top
top.
of it, but it's all
All
attached
in one
garage,
dwelling,
it's
yeah.
one dwelling.
Okay. Answers that question.
I mean, there's ways around it if we. As written,
Yes,
I think. But not. Blatant ways around it, just creative ways around it, so it'll still look nice from the highway, which is the point, I think.
Right. Yeah, no. Ghetto.
Right.
So R1. You know, pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I think the only changes are the ones we already talked about. Or setbacks.
so setbacks become 5, 5 and 5 and 10, 10 and 10,
Yeah,
and 20 and 20 and 10.
25-10. For R1.
Okay. Maximum height. Or. It goes from 12,
Yeah, it's 5 foot less for the outbuildings. You want that the same too?
I would,
yeah,
I think that's a factor we ought to look at, you know, for fire, you know, so. You have 2 people with 1 foot apart of buildings, there's fire, give it a little space. That'd be 10 foot.
That you, the 10 foot, you talking minimum side yard? Or you just talking 10 foot ball?
Yes,
So 20 total between,
The only problem, only issue with that, if it's only a 50 foot lot, the new lots are. They're all gonna be a lot, or wider, they're all 100 foot, but a 50 foot lot, it only leaves you 30 foot for a building. I know exactly what you're saying, cause you have 5 and 5, that's only 10 foot apart, I think that's our current standard,
right.
but on the 100 foot lots, that's.
You know, if these are all gonna be placed in new lots, right?
Yeah, this,
Yeah, cause I think.
Existing
Yeah,
lots.
yeah, the only thing that this would apply to for new construction that I was already in town would be the 40 acres.
well, this is applied to all R1 we have in.
Well, I realize
town.
that, but I'm saying that most of the R1 that's in town right now is already. It's
built
very-
upon,
A very small piece of it,
Right, there's not a lot of R1 in town.
correct.
and it's already got, so for all practical purposes, this would mainly apply for the 40 acres that you think new.
No, I think that's.
and it would leave room for, whatever, can't think of the word, but if somebody's rebuilding in a smaller lot R1, you could do the study and give them
A variance.
that's what I'm looking for. And there would be good justification for that variance because in the future, on one of the smaller, older R1s, if somebody's rebuilding,
Right.
it's a narrower lot than what this law is designed for, so we could give a variance.
Or the lot narrow is not a perfect rectangle, because of street or something, it gets smaller and smaller at the rear.
Right, so setbacks.
So I think if we
I'm thinking
did,
of on First Street
Size.
and
Right.
Yeah, First and Elm,
Mhm.
those slots change as the road moves.
but I think with your concern on the narrower lots, I think there'd be a good justification for a variance.
Yes,
In those cases on the narrower lots, if we went ahead with the 10 foot.
Okay,
right.
no, I like the 10 foot.
Stay with 10 foot and then just grant the variance if it was something in town.
That's on a smaller lot that it wouldn't be practical. I think there'd be good legal reasoning for a variance
They'll have to follow the new standard.
on the old town smaller
If they were
lots
to
or out
rebuild.
of square.
And
lot.
if they,
were-
and if they got the room to build, follow the new standard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
That would be
doable.
reasonable.
I think reasonable, yeah.
So I want to jump up to R1, 2, and 3. Or it says maximum density per dwelling parcel. So on R3, it's 4, so you could have 4-plex. What about R1 and R2? Do you want to have, mother-in-law apartments?
Like a duplex,
Can we have a duplex in there? And an R2?
I would think R2 would be appropriate, maybe not R1, but R2 would be,
We have R2?
we do.
Why
We
is
have
it?
some over on Fifth and Wyoming Street.
Cause 1911 is R1, 1912 is R3. 1913 is R4. I'm just looking at our ordinances.
Oh,
that first.
It's like,
We have a little bit of R2, but in the future, if something were to be rezoned. And we had that in there, R2 allowing for a duplex. I know commercial, you can, a lot of our stuff is on the main street on commercial, but. It makes sense to do that. Allow for, I mean, it's still two separate living units, there's,
I'm just trying to find the definition of what's R2. But I can't, maybe I'm just missing it. In our,
Would you like me to put a couple tables together and put out the map?
Yeah.
That makes sense, and look at.
Would it help?
Doesn't look like any are missing either, is the part that's kind of.
Yeah, I don't see R2 in our current ordinances at all.
Right. That's where I was
The
confused.
only thing that shows, the only time it shows up is under signed about. So we don't actually have.
Just trying to match the.
I'm just asking questions.
No.
Yeah, because I'm ignorant.
That's the. But that does look like, there's other few.
There's no definition in the ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Single family, resident, R3 is multi-family.
But our ordinance doesn't have it. On this, but it's not an ordinance.
It should be, but there's something we need to correct. This one looks like it's true here. Is that the one block we have in R2?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. That looks like,
Like this is agriculture, but there ain't no agriculture.
Yeah.
All we have is SR, it's the only thing that even mentions agriculture. There's nothing in there.
the start part of the new, but some of this here.
The duplex would still be single family.
Huh?
So the duplex would still be a single family.
No. That's multi-family. Two. One. Right?
All in the same continuous flow.
Yeah.
Is that? That's what
That would be, I think, a good description, yes, I agree.
We'd be smart and just put it on my block. Rather than jack around with R2, it's the only thing in town with R2, and we got no definition of R2.
No, it's,
Like,
we might well look at this.
might be 11.
down one.
Yeah, they just have it labeled wrong, Jake. That should say R2. They just have it labeled R1.
Oh, okay,
So it's just a grammatical error on that.
never mind then.
But we may wanna zone some.
So R2 is-
R2.
That do what?
We may wanna zone some of the R3 and change it to R2.
Is that little green one in the corner?
Or we got this one, but I don't know if we look at some of the other land. We may wanna do that. Which are two would be modulars.
It's yours.
Yeah,
Or a deck mill. would be-
so here it looks like H3. I'm looking at where it is, right here.
Yeah,
And this is all developed, we're here. Right, where, here's it. So this is all developed, these two blocks are developed,
yes.
that's where, city houses, yeah. That's it.
Right.
Here,
She has it here, here,
right.
planning to.
R2 allows
So
all.
the biggest thing with R2 is if we zone something R2, that's currently R3. Once they vacated that,
Right.
then they would have to fall under
R3.
with a permit.
R1.
So basically gets rid of mobile homes.
Yes.
So basically, it's taking something that's an R3 with a mobile home, classified as an R2, they move out the mobile home. Now the only thing that can go back on there is a permanent
I
structure.
believe.
Making
they
it an
have-
R
I
one.
believe they have a 90 or 180 days,
6 months.
6 months, yeah, 6 months. We
But our-
bring a trailer back in.
R2 allows home occupation, R1, I believe, does not.
And R2 also allows for parking lots, playgrounds. Currently.
Yeah. Or items are no longer out there, but remember that.
But, yeah, I would think that it might not be bad to look at some of the R3 and rezone it to R2. Yeah,
So it's leave the same standards then as R2, it basically becomes R1 once it.
Except home occupation,
Yeah, in the moment, you know, like this.
which is like daycare, parking
Yeah.
lots, things like that.
That should be residential versus commercial.
I was talking as far as like building a house.
Oh,
That also.
basically, a building, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
if you were to put a house. Whatever. But as long as.
Everywhere's a parking lot until you build a house, right?
There-
this is all commercial back in the day, no?
Yeah, so here is, it's so there.
I don't, other than changes, I don't know why we don't just go with that.
House, basically, just get past this
Yeah.
person, we can move into what we want.
Yeah, we're through like 2 of 120 pages, and it's only taken 45 minutes.
We have another meeting at 7:30. I know.
Well, I figure if we get, once this is done, I
Right,
can make. We can. Just generally talk about things that are currently allowed and just go through and what we want to change in that and then simplify it a little bit. Because really the biggest part I want to get to is. You know, when it comes to remediation and things, yeah, how do we enforce this? Those.
Right.
Big changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we need to enforce our trailer on.
We can figure
Okay.
out the results today. It's 45 days or else the town's moving. And he has to pay for it, and if he doesn't, he takes it.
Ooh. Yes, we did.
So.
Yeah.
Is it, do we want to evaluate some of the land and see if we want to? If it looks like that some of it should be changed to R2 that is R3 currently?
But I thought we were just trying to figure out what we want to make it into an ordinance.
Okay, yeah.
That's a, yeah.
That's
right
on
down
the-
the road.
So online, it has. That's where I got
I
confused,
did too, Jake, until I read it, then I was like, they just mislabeled.
because it says
Change it.
19-10 is R1, 19-11 is R1. But 1911 is actually R2 when you
Right.
get to reading on it.
So
I can see benefits of leaving R2 in there.
my question is, so we figured that part out.
Right.
Minimum floor space, total living space in R1, 2, and 3.
I-
1,400, I mean, do you have a duplex or quad, you want it 1,400 square foot?
Each
Well,
one.
it's minimum.
Yeah, you know, what happens, you say, hey, I want to put in a 1,200 or just a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment,
Right,
fourplex,
Right,
with that, I think that number's,
should be like 800 square foot per unit.
so we need to discuss that concept, you know, a minimum of 800 per unit, or, you know, whatever.
And then that would also leave a space for tiny homes.
Yeah.
Have 1 unit, you can have
Maybe
your
R2
tiny
zone.
home.
Yeah.
Cause I know there's specifically elderly people that really benefit from, or single people, confirmed bachelor or bachelorettes.
Well, some of the tiny homes are like 500 or 400 square.
Well, we can go that small if you want.
You know, I mean, I'm just saying, some of them,
So what are the square footage of the duplexes the town owns?
About 900 square foot
Okay,
approximately.
they're 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yep.
Or 1 bath.
One bath, yeah.
Okay, so I think that minimum square foot on R3 has to be changed, be smaller,
I agree,
And
per unit.
and we say per unit,
That way it's, if they have more than one, they don't say, well,
right?
it'll go 300 foot or square foot. It's saying it's 900 foot.
But it's, one is if there was someone that wanted to put some single bedroom, single bath, is that 600 square foot? Apartment, if you wanted a small. That's a
Studio apartment
question,
type thing.
yeah. You know, I don't know, or do you wanna go there, or you wanna stay with like 800?
750 would probably. Still. For one bedroom, one bath.
How big was that house of Perry's that you lived in?
Oh, it was, what, 850 square foot?
Perry's?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that big or
700.
not.
It was
Seven-
700.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right, 700. They had two bedrooms and a very small bathroom,
very small kitchen.
a very small kitchen and a very small living room. However, for a single person or,
Right,
you know, a person with
or a couple.
a couple with one kid, it would 700 square foot would,
sure.
I mean, I've lived in apartments that are that size.
Well, you can get a trailer 12 by 50.
Yeah.
That's 600 square foot.
Right,
Yeah. So 750 minimum then, or 700?
Yes, 700
Yeah.
you know,
Per unit.
per
Per,
unit,
per
per
unit.
unit.
on a multi. Yeah,
And then that allows for one, if you only have one unit, you can have your small place.
Right. And R4 right now is just a mobile home park. Urban ordinance,
No, let's clarify, mobile homes or RV parks,
mobile homes.
only mobile homes.
yeah.
Only mobile
Okay.
homes. It's, yeah, it's very specific current.
Okay.
But that one's kind of hard to find because if you had a mobile home park, max runs 4 per parcel, but we have to decide what the parcel size is.
If we. Might be easier if we didn't more clearly define R4 and left it as it's written. Just,
What's our four saying now?
It's,
all uses permitted in R1, 2, 3, and mobile home parks. Still gotta get permitted for it. I know.
Yeah, I think there's something I think that addresses. Or did I see in part with others that addresses mobile home parks? What constitutes
Here they have mobile home parks and commercial area on this page,
okay,
and they have an R4, and that's it. And they have in C1 and in R4.
The only question that was left on here from the guidance from this was, did we want to have a parcel size per mobile home in a mobile home park?
I'm trying to remember what cities lots are on the east end of town. I want to say
Their standard lot.
they're 50 feet wide.
Yes. I,
So 50 by 100,
They're
50
50
by
wide.
140.
140?
I think that then maybe, maybe
No.
they're 25 foot, maybe they're,
Yeah,
the old
they're not-
commercial
they're not- They're not 140 though.
yeah, they are. For sure.
Per trailer? No way.
No, trailer, I mean the lot size.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, the lot size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would need, so if we were, that's the question, do we say, max density dwellings per parcel, 2 parcels, minimum requirements 25 by 140? That's, would be what she would have then.
And 25 is the old commercial
Yeah.
width
Mhm.
for a lot.
Yeah,
So that would be what we would define if we were to define any requirements for that for a mobile home park.
Yeah.
That way you could have, like, you said, you're like 140 and you have one here.
see, I don't remember them being 25 foot lots.
Maybe they're 50.
I'm thinking they're.
And I think they're
50 foot lots.
50.
Okay, so 50 by 140
I'm just
and
saying,
then two dwellings per parcel.
no. By that 25 foot lot, you can fit a trailer, but I'm sure it won't give you much room. I think we are leaving, that was I'm not a fan of the 25 foot lots.
No, so I said 50 by
Oh.
140
Yeah, you're right.
with two trailers or mobile homes. Or 2 dwellings per parcel, each parcel is 50 by 140. Is that what
You're talking about putting 2 trailers on one lot?
that's what she has right now, we're talking about.
No, I think there should 1 trailer per lot. But she bought. Didn't she buy
Let me double check real quick.
9 lots?
She has more than that because they're front and back. She has 2 rows.
No, she gave around 8,700 a lot,
Yeah, pull up real quick.
I think.
Right now on this sheet, they have it at 50 by 150. 1,400 square foot, so that's size of regular lot.
Each lot is 3,500 square foot.
That's the old, that's the old. That's the old commercial lot.
So. There'd be one dwelling per parcel, 50 by 140.
But you're saying they're right now, though, they're half that size, so she's got a. Which, if you have a 60, she's got I think a double wide on one of them, is that on 2 lots then?
Yeah, so
Well, a double wide wouldn't fit on
right now, all her lots are 50 by 140.
her lots are?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what we thought.
So
Yeah.
one part,
One unit.
one unit,
Yeah,
and the minimum would be 50 by 140.
yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Which
think
is-
that makes sense.
so then change the max dwellings to one unit, but make the minimum size 50 by 140. Which would be 3,500 square foot.
Yes,
7,000. 50 by 140.
yes.
Is that R4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the minimum for square feet on an R4 depends on the size of your trailer.
Mhm.
So that minimum square feet should be reduced. I mean, if you have a 12 by 60 or 12 by 70,
Right,
or, you know,
or a tiny home?
right. I agree.
Right,
So make the minimum for how much?
I go 700,
700. So same as R3.
yeah. I gotta remember what SR is.
Detached, single family dwelling, accessory buildings, and nurseries, you can do some agricultural. Do we really need that anymore?
It's the closest thing to agriculture that the town of Shoshone has in the code book.
But wouldn't we be able to put that under RA?
So SR. You kind of pull it up, and I don't know what I pushed, that's what I pushed wrong.
So
So I looked into this before we ended up getting zone SR for ours. It's basically R1 plus agriculture.
That's what I'm saying, wouldn't you be able to do that under just RA?
Yeah,
and
I
that's
was
sort of the
asking-
same.
I was-
we could
I was-
do away with SR really and just
make
do
it
R.
RA.
Yeah, I think that would simplify it. Like closing all them 14 checking accounts. for
Yeah.
doing the same thing.
Well, that's what I was,
Yeah, I'm caught up. If we are doing passing RA,
right,
do away with SR.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing.
It's
they are, but what happens if you don't have a dwelling on it?
Okay,
what if you don't have a dwelling on an R1? Or
It's
R4?
zoned that way, but what I'm looking at an SR, they're allowing businesses there. Such as the greenhouse or the apiary. Those are businesses.
and that wouldn't be in an RA,
Right.
that's
Well,
residential.
SR is detached single family dwelling.
Okay,
But I
As
guess,
it reads now.
but the SR, what you're saying, we could put that into, we don't have something like that, it'd be commercial.
right.
Cause right now, that's where it was really confusing for us when we're trying to get our stuff squared away. Couple of years ago, that's how we ended up with the SR. It's detached single family dwelling, accessory buildings and uses, agriculture uses.
Right, okay.
It's the only thing that says agriculture.
So all those things that are on this sheet. Are business related, we can put into. Those can be zoned into commercial. Well,
Well, then there's the tax deal too. I don't know how much that plays into it if. Say, well, all they've got is agriculture, so we'll zone it commercial.
then it goes up.
Mhm.
but it doesn't matter what we zone, the tax,
Tax is based
Right.
on usage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The county, Fremont County don't zone, they tax based on usage.
Right. And they don't tell us what to zone. But. But yeah, we want, that that west of Herbst Lane. We're hoping that people can have a horse or
Right,
4-H animals or whatever out there.
Yeah, we can include that in RA is the allowable.
Was part of that.
One
So I can-
AMU per acre.
Right.
Yes. That's.
And so that-
typical, so, yeah.
That's why I was just thinking, since we're creating an RA, just so it doesn't be confusing, do we need the SR? If we do, we do, but I don't,
Sounds like they're pretty much the same thing.
that's what I thought,
Yeah,
and just cancel out the SR and just combine it into the RA.
that's sort of some niche that we want to allow that we're,
That way it's not confusing,
yeah.
one's looking in the future.
We allow right now our people to have fowls in different
Yeah.
zones right now,
Right.
so,
Yeah, but it's by permit only too.
right,
But if they had that out west of town where it's,
they would not need permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be permitted just by the R,
Zoning.
by the zone.
Okay.
I will probably get a SR.
get rid of that.
Cool.
Whatever's SR, would we have to rezone it to RA?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the
Or would we put it in the ordinance when we change? Make the RA, get rid of the SR, it would just automatically
Yes,
do it.
that's what we put in the ordinance, that
Okay.
SR was deleted and converted to RA. So that way it doesn't change anything with
Never handled.
your stuff.
Well. We're up against 7:30 for our regular, for special meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn out of this workshop?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Moved by Councilwoman Harkey, and by Councilman Zent, the adjourn. Our workshop meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye, both the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative at chief around 7:32.